took $3,000 out of the training and split it up, put $2,000 towards the per diem for the deputies, and the remaining $1,000 I put in vehicle maintenance. That is the only change in the budget.
How old is that truck?
10 years. It's got 118,000. We encountered some expenses the last few months. The catalytic converter went out, that was 1,200, and the air conditioning was 895. So it's starting to nickel and dimes, so I think I'll put $1,000 in there. But that's it. No other changes.
Do you
Stayed
have
under the
anything?
percent for salaries. My salary was set by you guys, and with Jackie, we stayed under that 1%.
Do you have anything built in for part-time help this year?
No.
Would you be taking that out of your per diem?
It's possible, but the person that will be filling in will not be charging county.
I have a quick question. Can I see, I think you're a little, not exactly on track for salaries, the first one, 73%, and we have,
We're at what page you got?
on the one, page one.
Page 3, whatever it is.
Is that where you usually are at this point in the year, at 73.8%?
I
It's
think
the
we're
first
right,
item.
the whole budget itself.
No, I'm just talking for the first item. I'm just wondering, it looks like it could be a little shy or a little over, I don't know.
That's right, Suzanne, the 73.8 is the same.
It's what we expect.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is,
Okay.
yes, it is.
Per call is, actual is a little over, isn't it?
The per call?
I'm just looking at the percent of the budget and how long we have to go.
Oh, you're looking at the current budget, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess they would be about 7% over, yeah.
And I understand the vehicle maintenance, that's been explained. Autopsy.
This is the last printout that I have.
Kenny, how many cell phones do you have? How many cell phones are you paying for?
Two.
Huh?
2.
That's not
Two?
true, it's 4.
Are you part of this? You're not the board.
Two cell phones?
Where's Jim? 2, right? We have one backup.
We have 2 that are active and then 1 backup.
And your cell phone bills are $5,000?
Now that has been changed. We now have a package deal. It's $89 per phone, unlimited text, unlimited calls coming in and going out.
So that's $180 a month times 12. So that would actually, your budget would drop down to $2,160 as opposed to staying at
Right.
$5,000.
Yeah, we
That's
changed
not-
that in May.
Huh?
That has been changed. We changed the new phone package in May.
So you want to change that budget
You
item?
want to change that budget line item number?
Just at least 3 or?
Yeah, we could change it for 2,500, cut it half.
I have a question.
Sure.
Kenny, on the per diem per call, now that works where somebody is on call, right?
Right.
And then if they go on a call, then they make,
Jackie, do you want to come up and explain this new, she's the, we worked real hard with the state
In case
attorney.
they ask about page numbers, that's what it's.
that's like a 12 and a half.
Oh, in case they ask.
Which seems like a lot, that's why we asked.
Say it again, what you're talking about.
That, I know they get, if you're on call as a deputy, you get a certain amount.
No,
For-
that changed.
That changed.
Oh,
That changed
okay.
as of April 1st. We
Okay,
had to change.
so you don't get that, but you do get, what do you get when you go on call as a deputy?
It depends on the deputy that goes. Mine is now tied into my salary. I don't get anything above or beyond. Mine is just salary. I work as much as I need to work.
I remember we used to have that per diem, we used to know what it was. What is it now?
There is no per diem anymore. We were not allowed, by Leslie told us we weren't allowed to pay like that because of the last audit. So we had to change everybody to an hourly rate. So depending on the person, depending on the actual deputy, the actual person has a varying hourly rate. So
Why
that's
would
what
that be?
that would be a question for Leslie.
Yeah.
We were told we can't pay, because what was happening is we were paying $2 an hour for on-call, and they said you have to pay at least minimum wage. Well, it didn't make sense to pay minimum wage, which is like $8 or whatever it is, for an hourly on-call. So we had to switch it to an hourly fee, and then they got a general stipend, a monthly stipend, just for being on call, which kind of correlated to the same amount of time that they took on call. So it kind of falls in the same number. Does that make sense?
Well, the thing was, we needed to do this because of the IRS, is what Leslie wanted. So that's why we did it. We couldn't give them $100 per call.
Right.
The IRS, that's something that Leslie, you know.
What's the
could
RIF?
IRS.
The
The
IRS.
Internal Revenue
You
Service.
can't give them so much.
We can't pay them $2 an hour per.
No,
per-
forget the $2 an hour. Since I was on the board, you'd get $50 for a call. If you went on a call, you got $50, just like per diems for us.
Because
Or
we
you
have-
got 75.
That's what it is now, it's paid by call,
Okay, but
It's
no,
not
she's
paid
saying
per
it's not,
call.
it's paid by
it's
hour.
not paid per call.
It's paid hourly now. So like, let's say if we have one deputy who makes $25 an hour. If he goes out on a call, he gets a minimum of 4 hours. So he's still getting that $100, which is what our per diem always was. But if he works over 4 hours, he gets that hourly rate of 5 hours or 6 hours or 7 hours or 8 hours. So that's.
So you don't really know then how long what the charge is. I think a per diem was a much better way to go.
Well,
We liked it better too. Tell
Well-
Leslie. We did.
Well, I don't see what Leslie has to do with it.
She
What the IRS
is
has to do
our legal
with
advice
it.
for the IRS. I just don't.
No, I understand that,
I
but
thought-
whenever you pay somebody.
Excuse me, I thought our accountant was our legal advisor.
And our accountant raised a question about it,
Right,
that's where all
after the
this
audit.
stemmed out of.
That was overtime
No, we
they
never
they
paid
talked
over.
about.
It was a matter of the audit created question, which caused Leslie to come in and tell us that we couldn't pay people $2 an hour for on-call, and we had to establish an hourly rate for all of the deputies and make them employees.
You mean you can't have a statement that if you go on a call today, I don't care if you're there 10 hours, you're gonna get paid
We
$150?
could, but what would happen is if we did that, we'd have to make them independent contractors, and as an independent contractor, they would not have access to our vehicles, any of our equipment, the cots, the fax machine, the computer, they couldn't have access to any of our equipment, according to Leslie. So for us to maintain the same system we had to keep them as
Oh,
employees.
something tells me I'm glad I'm done.
You know what, this bothers me, because you're saying that our legal advisors are making life more complicated for us than legal people are supposed to make things easy for you. You say, this is
No.
what I want to accomplish, and I want to stay within the law,
That's
would
what
you
we're
help me
doing.
out?
The
But I think she
legislature's
goes
doing
beyond
this
that.
to us.
I'm sorry, I don't agree
Well,
with
that's-
that at all.
That's where it all
Well,
fell.
I
I mean,
guess-
that's where we're at. So-
I'm hoping that Leslie had the advice of our accountant when she was coming up with all this stuff to make, obviously, a lot of things somewhat.
So that increased, that's why your, that
That's why it's going
went
up
up
because it's,
12.5%.
because it's correct.
So
All right.
there's no way you can make that cheaper? I just
Well,
don't
if you
think
look
that
at the
makes
total
There really
budget
is
here,
no
the
way.
budget this year was $152,407, and we're at $153,588, less than 1%.
I have to ask this question, Kenny. On your autopsies, your budget, your actual budget for 2011, for 10 was 17,625. Then your budget went up to actual of 18,650 for 11, but you're dropping it all the way down. You're dropping that down by $6,100 for the coming year.
Right.
I mean, I know,
Well, that's the same as this year.
no.
Our budget for 12
But
is.
where are you at for your budget for right now for autopsies?
We are,
19,000.
How much?
19,000.
So you're gonna exceed that budget by over 7,000, at least over
Right.
$7,000, and yet you're gonna budget the same amount for next year?
here's the deal, if you would read the state statute, autopsy, toxicology, and x-ray. doesn't matter if the autopsy line item is $100, the county board still has to pay it.
Well, that's not the point, Kenny. The point is to budget correctly.
Yeah.
The point
Budget
isn't
more,
to say
not
we're gonna
less.
pay it. We know we're gonna pay it. But our job is to budget correctly. So if you're already at $19,000
Be better to budget
and
for
you,
20.
and you move forward to that, you're probably gonna close the year at least 23, and you only wanna budget 12,500. That doesn't make sense.
Well,
What money do you get to keep? I know
Where's
they
the
changed
answer?
something. Is that just for,
I get to keep.
yeah, the coroner's office? For like when you
We
do,
get grant money every year.
no, but I mean, it used to go to the county general fund,
Right.
and now it goes,
That's,
is
that's,
that for death
That was up to
certificates
when?
and stuff like
This
that?
to,
And the cremation
office.
I know that there was something, it's not a
9
lot,
months?
but I know.
By
Yeah,
nine.
Kenny, how often,
Are you? Did you have your-
what are the rules with an autopsy? What calls for?
well, myself or one of the deputies decides if we need to do the autopsy.
Under what rule? I
This
mean,
person is-
is there a guideline is saying, you know, that, is there some type of, something that basically triggers? I mean, like,
Well, if someone has not been under a doctor's care,
The state statute says,
we have to autopsy for 45 days. But if the person's been under a doctor's care, then the doctor signs a death certificate.
Kenny, you're currently, you've budgeted $12,500 for autopsies, and if you close out the year based on your trending right now, you're gonna close out the year at $26,000. You're gonna be over budget by $13,000 on that. So, I understand we gotta pay for it regardless of what it is, but like I said before, it's our job to be able to budget correctly, so I think you really need to change that line item for autopsies to what the actual trend is.
Well, I don't have a problem keeping it where it's at because there might be a case where we might not, right now it shows that we're over $5,000 on the line item for autopsy, correct?
Yeah, you're over by, you're already over by $7,000. You got budgeted, you budgeted $12,500 for the year, and you've already spent $19,425.
I mean, it's a hard thing to guess. You don't know how many people are gonna die in the next month. I don't know.
Well, I guess
So-
I go back to Kenny. 2010, you were at 17,000. 2011, you were over 18,600, and you're already at over 19,000.
But I think if you look at the final balance of the budget, I'm not going over the whole budget itself. I'm staying within that 152,000.
But
That's what I look at.
Ken, you're gonna be over budget already. You're already 7,000 over just in autopsy.
But that's line out, I'm talking about the total budget. That's what I look at.
He said his bottom line is gonna be okay, but.
Bottom line is, I was given $152,000. I'm not gonna go over that.
But our auditor insists that we not go over in line items. She wants us to have line items that are more accurate.
And could I make a suggestion?
You could.
I do think we're gonna cut back the cell phones because he's told us that he can do that to 25. But I think that the line item for autopsies should not be less than 20,000.
Well, he's gonna hit probably close to 26,000 this year.
I understand that, and that might be an odd year, but looking back on the back, and I don't know if we have things of what was actually spent for those 10 and 11, or even 9, whatever, but I say 20 would be a safe figure for next year, rather than trying to leave it at 5,000, because you know that, I would rather budget for more expense and have less charges be there, which is the way you do a budget.
And,
Suzanne?
I can't expect you to know from what we've been doing and what we hear, and from what I understand by the auditor, most people, I think Latrice would think, most people are trying very hard to stay in the range of each line item based on everyone else, or many it seems, have a 3-year average. Latrice, anyway, did the 3-year average. And I think we have an obligation, not only for the auditor, but for the taxpayers, to put it as close as we can. I'm for 22 or 25,000 on that line, and I'm sure you could make the others work, because as you said, you're on budget this year, but I think we really have to be conservative and accurate in our projections.
Well, whatever you recommend, I go by the bottom line. $153,000, I'm not going over it.
And you gotta, remember, you've also been given, direction that, when you allocate or appropriate a certain dollar amount to elected official, they can move those dollars amongst, line items. So, I mean, if Mr. Toftoy is comfortable with the bottom line of 153,588, actually the auditor looks at that bottom line number more so than the line item numbers. And I understand everyone's concern on that one line item, but if you appropriate those dollars, that, it does give the elected official.
If
That's
you were
fine.
comfortable,
I think 20,000, you may be comfortable with this, but I'm not, because our auditor has expressly told us that
Yes.
the line item must be closer.
And other
she
departments are doing
listed
it.
every item and every department that had not met those basic requirements. So I think Kenny is fine. That's good that you're trying to cut your budget, but I don't think that's realistic.
If he can move items around, I would rather have him have that correct thing in the
I think every line item should
autopsies
be as close as
than in the per
possible.
diem per call,
And
which is
other-
what they were called on. was
every
overtime.
other tab is in our books,
All
are
right.
making an attempt at being as accurate as possible.
All right, to be continued. Kenny, what else do you want to talk about?
That's it.
Any other questions?
If I may,
Yes.
Kenny, if you change your cell phone to 25 like you're talking, move that down to autopsies, and I don't know, I guess the way I'm understanding everybody, if you do that, and you put another $5,000 added on to it, I gotta agree, I think you're gonna go over that budget, but that would put you at a close number of 20,000 in that line item. And we all know that you're gonna go over, and we'll try, let's tentatively do that till we get planning and trying to beat the budget down and see where we end up.
The other thing is, my concern is about the vehicle. We just have one vehicle,
Two.
or we have two vehicles, and how old is the other one?
Say, 2007,
Okay, so it's
the
not
van.
five,
A
it's
used-
five.
It's a used van.
Okay.
Ian, I
We
have
gotta
something.
address
Just a
that in
minute, Bob.
capital.
Yeah,
Bob,
we should.
Jesse?
I'm concerned that if you think you have enough in all of your line items, that your bottom line would come out with you having an expected deficit of approximately 7,000 or 8,000 in your autopsy, then maybe you have too much in the other line item, because you say you expect the bottom line to be okay. So maybe you've over budgeted in some other things.
Again, I look at the bottom line.
And Kenny, I see your training is down by 3,000 this year. You're not gonna be going to as many?
No, the money that now is taken in for cremations and death certificates, it's a separate line item that we have now, that can be used for training.
Okay.
So
I was gonna, if I may, Ann, I was gonna ask about that. What do you do with that grant of $7,365? You're allowed to spend that
Used
at
for
your
training, used for
discretion?
training, yes.
So that's where you'll be getting your training
Right.
money.
So do you want to lower that line item? If you've got over $7,000 in that budget, do you want to lower the training line item here at all?
If that's what you would like, we could lower it another 1,000. I just kept, each
Jackie's-
training usually takes about $1,000.
Jackie's saying no.
Well, that line item can be used for training and equipment,
Right.
and I believe that we were
Well, we talked about radios.
Yeah,
The new
we
radios.
have kind of a plan for, the equipment.
But it doesn't reflect, you just have training, so do you wanna make that line item say training and equipment?
No, I'm saying the grant can be used for
Grant
training
money
or
used for training
equipment.
or equipment.
And so we were going, if we maintain some of the money in the budget for training, then we don't have to take so much out of the grant for training, and we can use more of that for equipment. Because with the 911 changes or something like that, it changes the bands of the radios, and so our radios are not gonna work pretty soon.
Right, that's
The
important.
state, let me read the state statute. All the fees under this section collected by or on behalf of the coroner's office shall be paid over to the county treasurer and deposited into a special account in the county treasury. Money in this special account shall be used solely for the purchase of electronic or forensic identification equipment or other related supplies and operating expenses of the coroner's office.
So it doesn't actually say
It
training.
doesn't say
But
training.
it says here, other related supplies.
Supplies. Page 7, the death certificate
Stay out of
grant
this.
is for training and equipment, page 7. He's looking at coroner fees, page 9. He's got 2 grants.
I got 2 grants.
2 grants. One's
Here's the
coroner
other one.
fees on page 9, and the other is the death certificate grant on page 7. The one on page 7 is used for the training and/or equipment.
So you have another, fund of 8,500?
Correct.
Oh, so you've got more money than we have.
So you've got actually almost $16,000 for discretionary funds. So how much have you got in those funds now?
What's the total here? What is that, Jackie? File is
Got a
it?
paper, Latrice, do you know that?
Latrice, did you give the?
You had it?
Yeah,
I
it's
thought I
there.
had-
One is
I
on
didn't
page
get it.
6.
Just a lot of paper, sorry about that.
Yeah,
That's okay.
here's the one.
Right, but the actual, they want to know the actual. So there's
The
that
other
one.
one is on page 8, 6 and 8.
That's your 85.
Page 6 and then the other one.
So you've gotten,
You gave me so many
I
papers.
know, it's a lot.
Sorry.
There we go, and there's the other side.
So we got,
So there's your actuals.
okay. Who's got a calculator? Oh.
I do.
Page
9,000?
6 and 8.
One
I
has
show the
10, almost 10, and one has 85,
Right.
so.
so you currently got $18,500 in so-called in the bank that you could be using for,
Possibly a new vehicle.
That's what I was just gonna say.
That's what I was,
Maybe
you
you
know,
need to
I'm
bank
looking
that
at.
for another
Right.
vehicle. Besides your radios,
And
I
this,
think
you
that's.
know, this is
important.
money that was generated through the fees.
I understand that, yeah. Which was just
It was-
last year that you got to
We
keep
just
it,
got
right?
it, right.
Used to go back into the general fund.
Right.
all right, just, all right. Bob, did you have something?
I'm just listening.
Suzanne, did you have anything else?
Final word is I think we should just try to be as accurate as possible for everyone.
Jesse?
I'm completely.
I got one question. If you don't budget that money coming out of that fund, showing a transfer, you can't take it out in the fiscal year?
But we just bank it.
Fund
As
balance.
long as, I mean, I'm just making the question, and I believe I'm right. As long as you do not show a transfer out of that fund, that money is there to accumulate for a car or whatever
Correct.
function that needs to happen.
The next year he can put it. in.
And next year you can do whatever if we got enough in it.
Correct.
Well, let
Okay,
me-
that's what I wanna know.
Let me ask you this. What we do at animal control when we get our extra fees, we create a line item that says for vehicles, for this, for that. Do you have any desire to create a line item on this extra revenue, that you wanna create a line item that says that you will put part of that money in for a vehicle line item?
Well, it already says, the statute equipment.
He doesn't have to do it this year.
No, I'm just asking you, that's an opportunity, I
Yeah.
think, for you to create that. You don't have to, it's entirely up to you.
I just was gonna leave it the way state statute says, equipment, electronic equipment,
Nancy?
Well, I'd like to change the budget, to put the cell phones down to 2,500,
Okay.
but increase the autopsies by 7,500, which would bring it up to 20.
Okay.
Because I just think that would less flats. And I still am curious about, you know, the per diem per call. I think I'd like to see you get some other advice, you know, for this year, whatever
I
it is.
used to
But
state attorney, and that's
yeah,
legal
well,
advice, so.
well,
Nancy,
I just,
I'm sorry, I'd like to speak to Nancy's suggestion. It seems like we're just giving him more money because he says his bottom line is fine the way it is. So we're just giving him more money, and he is an elected official, we give him more money, he can spend it.
well,
But
and
to
I
me,
hope,
Nancy, wait till she finishes.
some of those line items must be over, or else he wouldn't be okay.
True.
So I don't think I'm gonna be in favor of putting more money there unless he takes some other things down.
well, the year isn't over yet, Jesse, and I would like to be more realistic. It's always taught that you always, when you budget more for expenses, and hopefully you get less for money coming in, and you get more money coming in, and you don't spend as much in expenses.
Well,
Which gives you a fund balance, which he will need a new car down the road, and
we're not arguing about that, and
So
that's not
I'm
in
just
this
saying,
year's
I
budget,
don't want
and
the
he-
auditor to say the same thing what she said last year.
And he has an opportunity to create a vehicle savings. That's not what he wants to do. He wants to keep it all just to whatever he wants to do, that's fine.
But I don't
But
want
I personally don't think $20,000 for autopsies is enough, because he's already at 19.
All right, but it's better than 12.
Well,
It's-
let's
It's
make
more
it realistic.
realistic, isn't it?
But I still
I'm
have
not
my
worried about
Just a
what
minute.
he's gonna do with the money.
He already says he has enough according to the bottom line. I would like for him to rearrange it himself because he has to be saying that he has built in these other line items enough that he goes over, he'll be okay bottom line.
There you go.
So he already has that money built in.
Again, what I look at is this every month, right now, as of July, 69% of the budget has.
I agree.
We have 60 days left in the budget.
I agree, you're fine for the bottom line. And I think if we add more money to a line item, then you're gonna have more money than you actually need. I just don't really care to do that. And I think it's up to him to rearrange his budget to make it come
More
out.
realistic. And,
Yes.
you know, Kenny, that's the thing we keep getting beat up for, is the fact that, you know, you do this and you do that, but you're never really very consistent on what the real numbers are. And another thing, I'm gonna come back to this, is vehicle maintenance. You could take this out of those funds that you have, that's $6,000 right there. So, anyway, we'll live to see another day on that. But we'll be back.
And where I would like to see it cut is on the per call, per diem. I'd like that to stay at 16,000
Well,
instead of 18.
That's up to Kenny, so.
So, well, it's up to the amount of money we give him. If you're
Yeah.
looking at the bottom.
Well,
You guys,
I'm
you know what,
adding
you
and
guys give me what
subtracting.
you want, and I'll work with it.
That's what I was doing, was
All right.
adding and
So I'm
subtracting.
forgiving him what he asked for on the bottom line, and how he arranges it is his
That's,
job,
Thank you.
and that's what I believe in.
Does the auditor agree with that approach?
They don't,
They
but
do
that's,
not.
he's an elected official, and it's up to him to make
I
that
operate under
decision.
the state statutes, so,
Okay.
not with the auditor.
But I'm not gonna vote for adding something to that.
Okay. Well, we'll leave a question mark there. All right,
Thank you.
thank you. Frank Claus, is he here?